So you see everybody seemingly making tons of money trading Bitcoin every day using leverage, and it looks super enticing, but you're a little bit skeptical because you hear about the dangers of leverage trading and how if you use leverage, you can get liquidated and lose all your money, which is absolutely true. It is definitely very dangerous, especially as a new trader. But in today's video, I'm going to show you how as a complete beginner, you can get on one of these exchanges and actually mess around with the platform, enter into some trades, see how different levels of leverage can affect your risk and your liquidation level with absolutely zero financial risk to you. And then when you start to get used to it and you understand how risky leverage can be and you feel comfortable, you can finally load up the account with some real money without being a complete beginner to the platform or leverage trading in general. So today we're going to be taking a look at Phemex and their amazing feature, which is mock trading. Let's get into it. So guys, here we are on Phemex, and when it comes to something like paper trading, demo trading, mock trading, whatever you want to call it, there are a couple of different options. You can actually do this on TradingView. They have a tutorial on this that I made a while ago. I'll link it in a card above. But when it comes to actually trading crypto, I think there's no better way to learn about leverage trading than actually getting on the exchange and being able to paper trade on the platform that you eventually want to trade real money on. And to my knowledge, Phemex is the only exchange that offers mock trading that is just a one-to-one simulation of their actual leverage trading platform. Phemex is not just a leverage exchange. They have many different features here. They have tons of different contracts you can trade. They have copy trading. They also have some trading bots, which I'm working on some new tutorials for you guys. They have some really cool stuff available with their trading bots. And then you could also just spot trade as well if you wanted to pick up some assets and hold them long term. They also have Phemex Earn, Phemex Savings. They have some Web3 stuff. They also have some educational content on here as well. One of the most feature-packed exchanges I've ever used. This is why I trade a lot on this platform, but you guys can see, you scroll down here, you have your general crypto prices here where you can check out the current prices, and then you could click here to deposit some money and buy crypto. You could click here, which this basically just brings you over to look at the overall markets. You can see you have DeFi, top gainers, new listings, and they list all of the coins they have available. They have tons of altcoins available too, which I know is a huge plus for everybody, including myself. But what I want to focus on here today, guys, is the contract trading, and more specifically, before we jump into the big leagues here with real money, I want to come all the way down here, mock trading, learn how to trade with zero risk. So guys, here we are on the actual mock trading dashboard. Now this is a one-to-one simulation of the actual trading platform that they have with the real money. And this is great, right? Because you could test out all those features, all the bells and whistles, see how the leverage affects your liquidation level, how the stop losses and take profits work. And then when you go to load your account up with real money, you're completely familiar with what you're looking at. You're not clicking the wrong buttons, and you learned it all absolutely risk-free. You don't want to spend your own money messing up using the wrong type of leverage. That's why I always recommend start with demo trading. And Phemex is really just the best place to do that, in my opinion, just because of the one-to-one simulation here. So as you guys can see, we have the chart here, which is pretty basic, nice and simple. You have the trading view chart here. You can mark up your chart. You can draw on it. Set your trend lines or whatever you look for. You can even use your fixed range volume profiles, which you guys know I absolutely love. So to the right of that, you have your order book, and then to the right of that, this is your trading panel. This is where all the magic goes down. This is where you're going to set your position size, all that good stuff, your leverage. So at the top here, you can see there's a drop down that says isolated. These are the two different types of margins that you can use. You have cross margin and you have isolated margin. I always recommend people use isolated margin just because this limits your ability to lose more than you have on the trade. So for example, if you have $100 of your own money on the trade, you may be trading with a lot more money if you're using the leverage, but if you're only using $100 of your own money and you wind up getting liquidated, isolated leverage limits your losses to that $100. So even if you're not using a stop loss and you wind up getting liquidated, at least isolated leverage will limit that loss to the amount of money you have on the trade. The other type of margin that you have is cross margin. Now, I don't recommend this because if your trade starts going against you in a big way, they will actually pull money from your account to cover that position, which basically means if you put $100 on the trade and you're on cross margin, you start losing that trade real bad, it's going to start pulling money from your account to cover that trade, which means you can lose more than that $100 that you just have on that trade. So I always recommend sticking to isolated leverage. And then you can see this drop down right here allows you to change your leverage for your longs and your shorts, nicely color coded, green and red. And this is a nice little slider that you can pick if you wanted to use 100x leverage. I never recommend that, and I'm going to show you why in a second, but I'm going to stick to 10x leverage here. And I'm actually going to show you guys an example of why you don't want to use 100x leverage in just a second. But for now, I'll just keep it on 10x leverage for both of these. And then we come on down here, you have your different types of orders. You have limit orders, you have market orders. Now I have videos on the channel talking about limit limit orders versus market orders. But real quick, for the most part, I use market orders as I'm an aggressive trader trying to get into the market as soon as I click the button. However, limit orders let you set an actual price that you want your order to sit at, and then price has to actually physically go up or down to that level and touch it in order to fill your position and get you into the trade. So if I had a limit order, say down here, let's say I think price is going to come back down right over here, and if it does, I want to get into a long position. You could set that limit order at 62,412, and then if you come down and tap that level, it will then enter you into the trade, and then hopefully it goes in your direction. This is why I don't like using limit orders, because if you walk away from your computer and price comes down to that level and you don't see the confirmations for the trade and it goes against you, you're just like automatically going to get into that trade whether you're sitting there or not. So that's limit orders. Same thing for the shorts. You would have to, set the level above price, and then price would have to come up there to fill your short order to continue that move to the downside. But again, I use market orders most of the time just because I'm an aggressive trader. So for this example, I'm going to stick to market order. And then down here, you have the size. This is going to be how much you want your trade to be, not how much you're going to use for your trade, right? Because we know with leverage, we can put $100 on the trade, but we can trade with, if we're on 10x leverage, $100 on 10x leverage is going to make a $1,000 position size, which is why people love leverage so much. So let's say I wanted to put in a $20,000 position. So we'll type in $20,000, and you can see we can trade with $20,000 while only spending $2,000 of our own money. And this obviously works for any amount you're doing. If you wanted to put a $2,000 trade in, it would only cost you $200, right? Or $196. If you wanted to put a $10,000 trade in, you would only have to spend $1,000 because you're just multiplying your cost times 10, and that's the beauty of the leverage. So for example, here we'll say we want to put, we're on mock trading, so we'll say we want to be big boys and put in a $50,000 position. This is actually a pretty common position for me, but you can see it's only going to cost us $5,000 of our own money. The position size will be 50K. And then right underneath that, you can see estimated liquidation, right? Now, this is the level that price has to get to in order for you to lose all your money, right? Meaning all that $5,000. So for this position, if we were to say long right here, with 10x leverage, our estimated liquidation level is 56,650. So we come on over to the chart and go down to 56,650. So we would literally have to have price come all the way down to this level in order for us to lose all of our money. So if we wanted to put in a long position here and we say, hey, and again, if you set stop losses, you are never going to have to worry about your liquidation. But let's just say we did not have a stop loss here and we just gambled on a long position here and price just completely goes against you. Once price hits this level at 56,650, you are going to lose all $5,000 that you have in that trade. Now I'm going to show you why high leverage can be extremely risky. Let's look at that same exact position, but on 100x leverage. So we're going to come up here, change that leverage to 100x, hit confirm. It's going to give you the warning, hit confirm, and then you can see your estimated liquidation level is now 62,288. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that number, and I'm going to go ahead and move our liquidation level. So on 10x leverage, your liquidation level is down here, but on 100x leverage, your liquidation level is right there. So that same exact long position on 100x leverage moves your liquidation price all the way up to this level here, and all price has to do is pop to the downside and you lose all your money. So this is why we don't like using 100x leverage. Now, another thing I just want to point out here is the relationship between your leverage and your actual margin that you're using. Margin just is another word for the money that you're actually putting on the trade. The position size is your money times the leverage you have, right? So if we wanted to enter a $50,000 position on 100x leverage, you don't need $5,000 like the 10x position. You only need $560. So technically, you don't have to use as much of your own money, but look how easy it is to lose that trade, right? So I always recommend, if you have more capital, I always recommend you want to stick with the higher capital and keep your leverage as low as possible. Again, protecting you, keeping that liquidation level far away from price. So, very likely if you get into this trade, price sneezes to the downside, you're absolutely wrecked, right? You lose all that money. You didn't lose 5K, but very likely you get liquidated out of that position. And it's kind of hard to set a stop loss here because there's not a lot of room to the downside. So please, for the love of God, stay off 100x leverage no matter what. But I'm going to come back down over here. We'll bring it back to 10x leverage. It's much better in my opinion, right? For me, I always like to use more of my money and less leverage just to protect myself from those liquidations. So there we go. So we have a $50,000 position. It costs us $5,000. And then as you guys can see here, you have TPSL for your take profit and stop loss. Now, whether you're long or short, you got to make sure you have it selected on the right one. So So let's say we wanted to take a long position. For some reason, you think price is going to bounce here. No, this is not a real setup. I'm just using this for an example, but we'll just say we want a long here, and then you can just go ahead and set your stop loss and your take profit, right? So let's say we want to take that long position right here, bada boom, and we want to try to ride it back up to these highs. And for the stop loss, let's say, hey, we have like a level of support somewhere down here, and we say, hey, if we're going to break this level of support, I want to get out of the trade because, if we break this level, I think it's likely to continue to the downside. That level is 61,916. We can go 61,916. And you can see that if we get stopped out of the position, instead of getting liquidated, we can simply just get stopped out for $500, right? And maybe you don't want to take that much of a risk. Maybe you want to be a little bit more conservative and you want to have a little bit of a tighter stop loss. You can go ahead and move that stop loss over here. That level is 62,323. So you'll 62,323. And then you can see you're only risking $200. But the important thing here, guys, is number one, you are protecting yourself from liquidation, right? And the number two thing I want to show you here is that you can see the amount of money you're going to lose before you get into the trade. This can remove a lot of the emotion from trading by presetting your stop loss and your take profits. So if I look at this and I say, hey, I'm willing to risk 181, and if we think that price for some reason is going to come up to this level here at 66,841, you can see that we're risking $181 to make $3,428, right? So it's a pretty good risk to reward. Again, this is not a strategy video. I'm not saying this is a good trade to take. I'm just trying to show you guys the platform. But you can see that, hey, I'm okay losing $167 if I have the potential to make $34.46, right? So that way, when you enter the trade, I'm going to do that right now. We'll click open long, right? We'll just say we want to long it on 10x leverage, right? You get a nice little order summary here. Size is about $50,000. So you're putting in a $50,000 trade. Your cost, it's only costing you $5,000. You only have to put $5K of your own money up. And then down here, you can see that you have your liquidation price, right? 56,561. So if price gets down to 56,561, you're going to lose all your money, but it's okay because we have our stop loss set. So we'll likely never see that level anyway. And again, that makes sense for anybody who's new to leverage trading. 5,000 times 10 is 50,000, right? That's why we only have to put 5,000 up to trade with $50,000, right? So we're going to hit confirm, and then boom, you are instantly entered into the trade. So down here is where your open trades actually pop up. And real quick, guys, I'm going to take my face and my camera off of the actual screen here just so you guys can see everything in full. And there we go, right? So now we come down here. If we were to enter another trade, say on like Cardano or something like that, it would just stack underneath this so you can have many trades open at the same time. And because Femex has hedge mode, you can actually just go ahead and open up a short on Bitcoin at the same exact time, and it allows you to have those both positions, long and short, on the same asset at the same exact time. But either way, your positions will all pop up down here. You can see you have a BTC long on 10x leverage. It's a $50,000 position, right? Your entry price was $62,550. This is the real-time price of the asset currently, and then it gives you your estimated liquidation price, $56,778, and then it gives you your margin level, and then your margin, which, by the way, margin is just the amount of your own capital that you have on the trade, and then you can see your unrealized profit. You'll see this going up and down pretty aggressively as price moves up and down, and then your realized profit is the profits that you have locked in. Now, you may be asking yourself, why is this already negative, right? We just got into the trade, and we already lost $29. This is simply due to fees, right? But I see fees as a cost of doing business, right? Any business you have, you're going to have to pay some expenses. You might need a storefront, whatever it is. I see the fees as a cost of doing business. I have this amazing ability to sit at my desk anywhere in the world and make money by clicking buttons. I'm happy to pay a little bit of fees to the exchange. And that could go up and down as well, depending on how the fees are. But I'll show you in a second how to actually lock in some profit. Now, to the right of that, you can see take profit and stop loss. This is letting you know that you do have a take profit and a stop loss set. And if you ever wanted to change that, you just click this little pencil and you can go ahead and just edit either of these, right? Now, an easier way to edit your take profit and stop loss, which is really nice, is you can simply just drag around your stop loss. If I grab this, I can drag this up and down. I don't recommend moving your stop loss further away from price, as it will just increase your risk, but it is nice to be able to just drag it around like that. And you can also do the same thing for your take profit. You can simply just drag this up and down. Maybe you don't think you're going to make it here anymore, and you have to go to sleep, and you think maybe you're only going to get to here. You can go ahead and move that take profit down as well, and then it quickly just changes your order and moves it down there, which is super, super nice. And another really kind of hidden feature of Femex that I really love is that, you can just hover your mouse on the chart, and it gives you this little little estimated P&L. And it's like, hey, well, let me see something. Like, what if we make it all the way back up to this high? You could just hover your mouse over here and it'll be like, oh, I'll make 57.85 if we get up there. Just kind of like a cool little feature that I don't see any other exchanges using. I actually really appreciate that. But you can see here, we're up about $90, guys. Now, if I wanted to take some partial profit here, to the right of your take profit and your stop loss, you can simply come over here and click this market button. Let's say we wanted to just yank out 40 bucks out of this position. We can go ahead and click market, and then we can select the amount of the trade we want to take out, right? So we're up about 85 bucks. I'm going to take up about 50%, and then you can see your fees did wind up going down there, and then you can see that profit was added to the your red realized profit. And again, you know, oftentimes you will open a position in the red on fees, but that's totally fine. Like I said, on a $50,000 position, you can see price barely moved here, but you know, if we came up a bit, and you know, if we even came up to here and we were up $329, you'll be able to take profit and cover the fees, you know, quite fine, right? So so there you go. We took half of the trade off, right? So we, you know, we're still technically in the red, but you know, for the sake of this video, I don't want to sit here and wait for price to move a ton. But you can see here now also, we're not in a $50,000 position anymore. You are simply in a $25,000 position, which obviously makes sense. And you can see your margin was also taken off as well. We only have $2,500 instead of $5,000 of our own money on the actual trade. So there you go. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and close the entire position here, you can just go ahead and click this X on your entry, or you could go ahead and click your market and click 100%. That will close 100% of the trade, or you could just hit close all positions, but that will close every trade you have. So be careful with that. And then another really cool feature here is the reversal button. Let's say like, hey, we think that we're going to go back down. You can simply click this reversal button, and what it will do is it will just take the current position and flip it from long to short with the same amount of capital, right? So if I just go ahead and click that for fun, you'll see we are now in a short, right? So I don't use this often, but it is cool as a feature just to have it. It does come in handy once in a while, but there you go. It's now a short 10x leverage, $25,000. We only have $2,500 of our own money in the trade, and then obviously the P&L will go up and down depending on what price does. So you guys can start to see here how beneficial this can be to a new trader trying to learn how to leverage trade. You can actually play around with the leverage, enter some 100x longs, get it out of your system, see how unlikely it is to win those trades. That way, when you load up your own money, you'll actually understand like, hey, I took 10 100x trades on the demo account and they all got wrecked, right? So maybe I want to stay away from that. And sometimes, you know, someone like me, I have to touch that hot stove 10 times before I learn my lesson. Trust me, I went through that with trading as well. Can't tell you how many accounts I've blown up, probably more than anybody watching this video. But eventually I learned my lesson. But if I knew about this, or this was a thing, I don't think it was a thing when I started trading. If it was, it would have saved me a ton of time and money. And you could even go ahead and you could change your leverage live, right? So I can actually change the leverage of the position while I'm actually in the trade. Now, I'm not going to go into this too much, but you know, if you wanted to change your leverage while you're in the actual trade, you can do that by clicking on your leverage here. And let's say we wanted to, for whatever reason, I have specific reasons on why I would do this, and I do it from time to time. It's actually a risk management strategy. The only time I use 100x leverage is to manage my risk. But let's say we're already deep in profit. We've already taken in profit. Our stop loss is at break even. It's a guaranteed winning trade. And let's say I only had $2,500 in my account. Well, I can't open another trade. I see a fire long on XRP. I can't take it because my money's in this trade. But if you're already in profit with your stop loss to break even, what you could do here is actually crank up your leverage. Let's crank it up to 65x. And if I go ahead and I click confirm here, you'll see it'll actually change my leverage to 65x. But look at my margin. I just freed up a ton of my capital to now go deploy that on other assets. Right now, again, I don't recommend doing this randomly. There are specific techniques that I use for this, and maybe I'll make a video. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys want me to make a video about it in the future. But by using mock trading, you can just go ahead and play with this and see how it affects all these different things, how your leverage affects your margin, how leverage affects your liquidation level. And I highly recommend getting in the sandbox, getting your hands dirty, and messing up on demo, right? And again, it's a one-to-one simulation, which is absolutely beautiful. That way, when you get onto the real exchange and you're trading with real money, you feel right at home. So guys, with all that being said, I think that's all the time I got for today's tutorial. If you guys want to sign up for Femex, you can check the link in the description down below. I've been using it for a very long time and I absolutely love it. So if you're learning how to trade, go open an account, get on that mock trading account, mess up everything with the fake money before actually loading up your own money into the account. And with all that being said, good luck out there. Don't lose all your fake money. That's all I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles
Here we
out.
go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand.